Mary, are you there? This is Mary, and I want to pull up Mary's earnings report because I want to talk about her first 60 days. And this was, now, again, disclaimer, Mary started making money right away, but this isn't, I'm not bringing her on because she made so much money right away. That's not the point of it. Of course, I'm all the gladder if you make money right away. That's great to me. But again, that's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this here is to focus on you actually getting a foundation to get paid month after month, year after year, and just to change your life. Mary, are you there? Can you hear me?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you great. Thank you so much for coming on with such short notice and then taking care of all the tech issues and everything to come live with us.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right, great. So what I want to do is another earnings report. Actually, I have to find the Hangout again. I completely lost track of where it is. Know where it is. But anyways, so Mary, you heard the topic that we talked about with Greg. When Greg first got his start. Now you joined us at the beginning of last year, or sorry, at the beginning of this year, right, or actually maybe like December or something like that. And then I got your earnings report shortly after that. What was it that led to that? Like what was your background? What were your strengths? What was going on for you? And because you were not a technical person when you joined us, you'd had some success in other areas of your life, but you were not technical. Is that true?
You're absolutely correct. I actually didn't even know what a WordPress site was a year ago. So
okay, great.
That was my level of understanding at that point.
So when you cracked open OMG, when you came inside, what were the things that you did? You heard Greg talking about how he would, go through training, go through materials, go through videos, try to figure stuff out. At first it seemed perplexing and confusing, but then ultimately became very empowering. Can you take us inside of that? What your first 60 days were like?
Sure. Actually, I started probably November 1st of 2013, and knowing absolutely nothing about this, I just started watching the videos. I would go to Greg's classes. At that point, Fletch was having classes, and I would just take notes and ask questions. Mostly, I think the turning point for me came about 10 days in when I figured out that even what little I knew at that point I knew more than 95% of the other people out there. And what that did is it gave me a lot of confidence. It was, as you said, very empowering. And it was also knowing something other people don't know gives you the feeling that you can accomplish anything. And so it was that confidence that led me to how I actually started making money was just responding to posts on elansandguru.com. And my background actually is in finance and publishing. So I just used my publishing skills. I wrote for 12 years, and I just wrote killer responses to people's inquiries for jobs. And that's actually how I got a lot of people to respond to my proposals. And
now,
that's how it all started.
Boy, I know a lot of people right now are fired up hearing you say this, because what you just said is so similar to what Greg said. Like, Greg realized the power of SEO. He got it. He was like, this is powerful. And then when you're getting that handed from Greg to you, you're a little bit like Neo in the Matrix, being able to jack in and get that information. You very smartly realize, wait a second, it's like playing poker. When you've got a good hand, you're like, wait a second, I've got a good hand here. And then you use your talents that you've built up over years. Go ahead.
Yes, and not only that, it's being a control freak. I had control. And that's another thing that's really, really empowering, the fact that something that previously in my previous career I had no control over, our web presence at all. I just hired people and wrote checks for 12 years. And being that much out of control on something, is very disconcerting. But there's so many other things on your plate, you tend to, sweep that under the mat. But for me, finally understanding what was going on, having the confidence to be able to execute, and not only execute, but also felt like a key to a secret world where people were making money and I had no clue. And so that was a light bulb moment for me. Because when you have knowledge that 95% of the other people in the world do not have, that's something you can take to the bank every day of the week.
Yeah, that's a powerful statement. Now, it started translating into pretty serious money for you. Can you give us some insight as to when you're answering? Because there's a lot of people out there looking for SEO. Some
Right.
people are going to the web and searching for SEO in their city. Some people are talking to friends about it. Some people are going onto Craigslist and posting, hey, can you do SEO for me? Or websites like Elance or freelancer.com. What are some things that you were looking for, and how are you answering people that was helping you make all this money?
Well, I think you have to read between the lines. A lot of people think they know what they need, but they really don't. And when you're answering them, so many people at Elance and Guru just kind of repeat back the copy in the proposal, and it doesn't move the ball down the field at all. But what you have to do is you have to give them something. So, for example, I would offer, and what little knowledge I had, I would offer them a piece of information or a tip, and I would just give it away for nothing. And I'd say, well, I can start on your SEO, for example, but you really need to beef up the content on your home page because it's very off-putting to visitors, and that's not a good thing. And I would give them little tips on how to, beef up their content on their home page. And all of a sudden, instead of me trying to sell them something, I was giving them something that they could really use. And so, as opposed to being across the table from them, suddenly I was sitting next to them and helping them. And that's the thing that really made a difference for me when I was doing proposals, is that I think out of, proposals that people would get, I would be the only one that would make sense to them because I spoke on their level and I told them what they needed to do. And more often than not, especially on the higher ticket items, the fact that I was willing to give away something, they were just blown away. And that's how I would get people, to take the next step.
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Mary. I really appreciate it. I know that a lot of guys and gals out there are very, very appreciative of you jumping on like this.
Oh, you're welcome, Mike. Glad to do it.
Thanks so much.